Her heart's been broken just like you and all night. What the young American, young American, all night. All right, you want the young American. You ain't a pimp, you ain't a hustler. A pimp's got a caddy and a lady got a Chrysler. Black's got the slag, white's got a soul train. Mama's got cramps and look at your hands shake.
I heard the news today, oh boy.
I got a sweet and you got the feel. Is there a man who can say no more? Is there a woman I can suck on the jaw? Is there a child I can help with that judging? Is there a pen that will write before they die? Ain't you proud that you stuck our faces? Ain't there one dance song that can make me break down and cry?
All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm David Domke. Welcome tonight to this community meeting. And I'm banking on my colleagues letting me know if they can't hear me because I've been having a little bit of microphone issues, but so glad to have you all here. This is our monthly community meeting on the first Thursday. I believe Kylie Knowles and Maria Jimenez often host these, but we decided that we were going to host this one, the development team, okay? And so that is myself, and it's also on my screen right to the left of me, Jordan Schulte.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
And to my right on my screen, Celestria Hill.
Hi, everyone.
So welcome tonight. Let me show you what our agenda looks like for tonight. These folks, let's see here. Okay. This is our kind of schedule for tonight. This is a community meeting devoted mostly to talking about development and fundraising, basically kind of how we raise money at Common Power. And we're going to start with a little lightning round action for Jordan and Celestria and me, and then I'm going to go through a series of slides and overviews essentially of our fundraising, our values, and kind of our commitments, and then a little bit of overtime presentation of data, how things have changed from the beginning of Common Power. Then Celestria and Jordan are going to both share a bit about themselves because they are the future and they are also the now as part of Common Power's development work. And so we want to give a chance to have them talk a bit about themselves. Then Jordan and I are going to talk about what we are calling Action Academy April, which is a fundraising campaign to raise money for our Great Action Academy program that we've just launched this campaign a couple days ago, and we want to talk about it because it runs the whole month of April. And then the last portion of today, if I have it right, and I'm not certain I do, but it's not us. It's fieldwork updates from our terrific fieldwork team who comes in and they have so many things going on, so much work going on, and they're going to provide some updates. So that's what we are doing here. We're going to start with our development team lightning round, and I believe Jordan is going to start us off with this, okay?
Yes, I can just go through all of them, all my facts, or we want to go back and forth.
Well, you got to tell everybody what we're doing and then just do it.
Okay, we're going to share 5 facts about ourselves so you can get to know us, some details about us. So we could just run through them. Like I'll do my 5 and then you guys do your 5. Okay. So they're just pretty basic, but just something so you can know about us. To start would be where we live. So I live in Phoenix, Arizona, enjoying the really good weather right now, 70s, 75. 80 sunny. I'm enjoying it. And then how we got introduced to CP, how we became to be in this position. My cousin actually introduced me to CP. She had participated in Action Academy and field work, and I joined in 2022 with the launch of the Institute, and CP has been my family ever since. And then third, we're going to share our favorite food. Mine is pizza. I'm like a pizza snob, kind of, but not in a bad way. I just love trying all new pizzas, especially here out in AZ. We have a lot of good places. We have Pizzeria Bianco, if you ever heard of it. Just world famous pizza places. Love it. Our fourth one will be a song, album, artist that we've had on repeat lately. And mine is Cowboy Carter, the album by Beyonce. So good. Yes, I see some clapping. I see some smiles. It's just so good. So if you haven't listened to it yet, I highly recommend it. It has a flavor for everyone. It's just excellent. And then our fifth one will be just an individual piece about us, something that you can take away to remember about us. Mine is that athletics, sports, exercise, so specifically for me, soccer, have played just such huge parts in my life. My physical and mental health is really important to me, and sports and soccer specifically have given me a great escape, a place to decompress. I've built lifelong friendships and just learned very valuable life skills and had experiences that I wouldn't trade for anything. So if I'm ever too excited, if I'm ever sad, if I'm ever anything, I'm usually like on a walk or hike or playing some sport or something. So that's my piece. And I'll pass it to Celestia. Give your
Thanks. Yes, thank you, Jordan. So I'll go ahead and go with where I live. So I currently live in Montgomery, Alabama, but you all are kind of the first to know that I'm actually moving to Selma this summer. So it's my big announcement from that. How I got connected to CP. So I actually got connected through Dr. Scott through the Educator Learning Tour. And that's how I got into my position of CP with the long story. But I'm so grateful for this position and so happy to be working with Common Power. My favorite food, I love French fries and pasta. I'm a carb person. Any type of French fries, if I'm low on energy, get me fries. If I haven't, I don't know, just French fries, everything, pasta, everything. That's my thing. Favorite music, Jordan and I just chatted about this before, but it's definitely Cowboy Carter. I was listening on my way back from Selma today. Like Jordan said, a flavor for everybody. It's the album. Okay. It's the album of the year. It really is. And the fact about me, fact that makes me me is a fun fact for someone who is Gen Z. I can drive a stick shift, and that's actually my preferred way to drive a car. I feel like a race car driver in it. And I think everybody should learn how to drive stick shift and that they should be reintroducing it maybe into electric cars, but I love driving stick shift. I think it's the best thing. And then I'll go ahead and pass it to you, David.
Okay, awesome. So I think I have seen Celestia drive the stick shift, and I was sitting in the back seat and I was like, wait a minute, are you driving a stick shift? I don't know anybody under the age of 30 that can do that. But yes. Okay, I live in Seattle, Washington. I've lived here since 1998 when I got a faculty position at the University of Washington, and have lived here ever since then. So this is my 26th year. Yeah, 26th year here in Seattle. How I got introduced to Seek Common Power, I was there in the beginning of the organization, the development of it, when we started to think about a way in which post 2016 we might do something in areas of the country that were not just the Seattle area. This was just Seattle volunteers at first. We wanted to be able to do some work in blue, or I'm sorry, like light blue or purple or light red areas. And so we began to think about traveling to do some work. And so from the beginning, doing the work out in the field has been the essential piece of Common Power. My favorite food, I think it's toast. Okay, I think it's toast. But not just any toast. It's sourdough toast. All right, it's sourdough toast, and I have tried like so many different brands of sourdough, and with butter, of course, on it. And just so you all know, because people have often said that's pretty weird, David. I have sought for the last, I don't know, decade of my life to find other toast lovers. And I have become aware that John Lewis loved toast. Okay, that John Lewis apparently was renowned in the movement for loving toast, and also here in Seattle, Ichiro loves toast. All right. And so look, I just feel like, the company you keep in the food that you eat is really, really important. So that's me. My song, my album, or on repeat is I just had like a really real vacation. I haven't done those very often in my adult life, and I had a really real vacation, and I went to Ireland with my wife and some other family, and probably the greatest band of my lifetime that I have been the most influenced by is from Ireland. It's the band of U2, and their incredible music about freedom and justice and kind of collective values. And so I've been listening a lot to them, especially their song Sunday Bloody Sunday, which is about 1972 in Northern Ireland, but it takes forward the terminology of Bloody Sunday that was of course part of Selma, Alabama, and has been a big part of my learning in life. And then lastly, my factoid about myself is I really do like chocolate chip cookies. I really, really do. I mean, like, people who've known me since I was a kid, they're the first thing they say to me if they see me after like 40 years is, "Are you still eating all those chocolate chip cookies?" And so my thing is I can eat at least 2 dozen chocolate chip cookies in one sitting, at least. All right. And I've been known to go well beyond that as well. So that's a little bit about us and who we are. We are the development team. And I want now to move into the second piece of our agenda, which is to share with everybody a little bit about development as it functions at Common Power. And I'm going to share on behalf of Jordan and Celestia and myself, because I've been around doing development work from the beginning at Common Power. And it is near and dear to my heart. I really, really love matching up the values and the goals of this organization with people who care about the same kinds of things. I don't think about it as raising money as much as I think about it as building relationships and making really meaningful connections for people, things that people care about, that we care about, that everybody who supports us cares about. And so when I think about doing work, that's what kind of helps me to get through whenever I'm like going to ask somebody for money, is I'm like, all I'm really doing here is trying to give people an opportunity to support something that is really, really good. So I put together some slides, and I put together some of these in the last couple months. And so then I just polished them up for this. But I put them together because we're now in our, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Charles and I can never remember, or at least I can never remember. We're in our 7th year, which is amazing, really, as an organization. And so I was putting some reflections together at the beginning of the year. And what I want to start with is what I call kind of an overview of the organization. And these are attributes or characteristics that, in my view, really should be central to any organization. And in my communication research as a professor and as a teacher, I was always been very, very interested in organizations and how organizations get created, how they get sustained, how they get enacted, lived out, how they are challenged by all kinds of things. And then the ones that don't make it, what kind of makes that happen, the ones that don't make it. So these are 5 kind of characteristics that over time have become important for us as an organization at Common Power, and they're really kind of present when you're thinking about any organization. So they can be kind of metrics or measuring sticks or things to assess an organization on. And I'm going to start over on the right side with what we'll call the sustaining money. The CP sustaining money column. And over here at Common Power, we live this out through a collection of things. At Common Power, we raise sustaining money through individual donors. Many of you are donors. When we're recording this presentation to share with all of our incredible supporters. We also have education offerings that we sell. We sell courses that people sign up for. We sell learning tours, and sell can be kind of a negative word often, but it's just getting people a chance to participate in something they really want to do. So we make some money off of those. We have funding campaigns, like we're right now just launching our Action Academy funding campaigns. These are campaigns where we make distinct pushes for fundraising for a particular activity. And then we also receive money from some foundations and we receive some grants. And we don't do a lot of that, foundations and grants. We do it mostly when people invite us to do so. But that's what we do right now. And this year in 2024, we're working to on all of these areas. And if you were to size these by what we do the most of right now, it is individual donors, and we probably always will be. But we can certainly do more with application offerings in terms of creating products for them. We can do more with our funding campaigns in terms of really being strategic about our marketing and who we try to target. And we can do more with our foundations and grants work, which has challenges to it, but can also be, once you kind of get going on it, can be very, very successful. So this is what at Common Power we really call development. It is the raising of the money through these different means. And since the organization was started in 2018, every single donation that has been made to Common Power, every single one, I have been part of processing those in our internal record keeping. I have processed, and not by myself, but I've been part of processing every single one of them. So these mean a lot to me, and I know names. I know people by names often. So that's what development is. Now, in development, you can't do anything. You can hope to do all these things, but you can't really raise any of that money if you don't have these 4 other columns of things. They got to be solid. They got to be legit. You have to be able to share these other pieces with people. Otherwise, they'll say that they're not going to want to give money. People you all ask very reasonable questions like, what are your values and who are the leadership? And you don't often use the word apparatus, but apparatus refers to all the kind of necessary pieces that are part of putting an organization together and holding it together, the glue. And then certainly people ask, what are your programs? So really the sustaining and the raising of money is completely dependent upon these other dimensions. And so whenever we raise money at Common Power Development, we are fundamentally aware that what we're really doing is we're simply trying to, as I've said, provide opportunities for people to support things that they really care about. And those things are on the 4 left columns: values you care about, leadership that you believe in, apparatus that you think are essential, and you'll see what this is in a second, that you would think are essential to make something work, or programming that you believe you're like, yes, I think that's really valuable, and I think we need that. So those are the pieces, the products, the elements that when Jordan and Celestia and there have been a few others before us, and I'll mention them at the end, have done to do work on this. The reality is that we're simply putting these other pieces on the table with people. And so the excellence of our fundraising is always closely tied to the excellence in these other areas. So I put this chart together because I've been sharing it with donors for the last couple of months, because it's a very recent chart, because we're making a big push in 2024. We know how important this year is, and we know how much we want to get done. And we also know that coming out of this year, no matter what happens, if we win or if we lose, we need to be ready to go. We need to be all in and ready to move at the end of this year. So we've got to really have a great fundraising year, a great development year. So I'm just going to share very briefly these other columns, and they hopefully will resonate with everybody on this call. Like, they should make sense to everybody. Okay. What's our core values? Well, our purpose is to move from education to political action, and we fund our education in a C3 charitable organization, and we fund our political action through C4 Political Action Committee. But from education to action should resonate. Everybody should know that. That's a phrase that we use. That's our purpose. What are our practices? Our practices is a great mix of social justice, kind of grassroots body of work, where you have really passionate, determined, committed, idealistic people that are trying to build something and change the world, merged with the kind of really organizations that have personnel matters. They have a structure, we have a plan, we have a vision, we have data, we have a record. And so we're a merger of those. And Charles Douglas, our executive director, has a really great body of kind of like talking about the way these two practices, these two quadrants of practices, social justice and establishment, have come together in CP. And I think you all of you on this call should encourage Charles in another one of these community meetings to do that, to present this material, because it's really, really powerful to see the way in which Common Power lives out the merger of these two kind of quadrants of social justice and establishment work. And then what's our philosophy? Everybody should know we're an interracial, intergenerational organization. This is core to who we are. It's a non-negotiable. And we could make things a lot easier on everybody if we just didn't try to be interracial, intergenerational. It'd be a lot easier. And in fact, that's the way most of the world is. But we're not willing to do that. We're trying to do something different. So those are our core values. So when people ask me who's CP, well, this is who we are. All right. Who's our leadership? Well, we have a governing council at the organization that is our executive director, Charles Douglas, plus 3 other directors. Dr. Terry Ann Scott, Larcy Douglas, and myself are the 3 other directors. We are the senior leadership of the organization, and we make the decisions. Charles has the ultimate say, but Charles's model of leadership is very collaborative. And so the reality is he takes input from a lot of people, and we often make decisions that are consensus at the director level. So the 4 of us are the key kind of drivers of final decision making at the org. And then we have an advisory council that consists of 4 community members who have been with us from the beginning, who don't have any voting power, but are extremely thoughtful and wise about how we do our work. And we go to them with tough questions and for guidance when we need it, and we meet with them a couple times a year, and then in many ad hoc instances. They're great. And that advisory council just to share the names with you is Ellen Ferguson, Gail Picker, and Ty Kramer and Steve Romine. And they have been with us. They are financial supporters. They are incredible organizationally wise individuals. They also buy those core values. They're committed to them deeply. So we're thrilled to have this ability to kind of run this organization by the folks who work in it, but then to have this advisory council right there with us. And in fact, I'm having coffee tomorrow with 2 of them. And a day doesn't usually go by where our leadership is not in touch with the advisory council. Now, the apparatus are all of these pieces of glue that hold together an organization. You need a legal arm. No organization with the kind of money or the kind of attempted influence that we have should not have a legal arm. And we do. We have the Elias Law Group, which is Mark Elias and all of his lawyers, which are the best lawyers on the center left in this country. And they've come, and we also have Perkins Coie, which gives us some great employment advice as well. We have a human resources consultant known as Reverb, which consults for organizations all over the world. They provide input to us, guidance, practices. This has been something we've picked up over time, and it's been the person we have. She's great. She's very helpful for us, and we're drawing upon her in just a whole set of practices that we have. We have a national organization for our finances who works with us called Premier. They had worked with Perkins Coie and have been their financial arm for political organizations for 25 years, broke off from them in post-2020 when the Elias Law Group broke off from Perkins Coie. And we have contracted with Premier to oversee and to work with us on our finances. We also have a lot of internal financial control. Vanna Zaragoza and Asha Douglas, under often the leadership of Larcy Douglas, have really overseen our finances, and I've got my hand in that quite a bit too. We have all the checks and balances, and we have this external org that looks over things and provides input, and we have the internal pieces because we need the internal dimensions to move at the speed we move. We're a very, very complicated financial organization, and that complicated approach actually enables us to live out our core values. We have regulatory arm, which is both Premier and Elias, and works internally with myself and with Vanna Zaragoza. And what is regulatory? It's making sure we file all of our forms on time. Every single month since the beginning of Common Power, we have filed a Federal Election Commission report that shows all of the money we brought in for our PAC and how we spent every dollar. Every single month since we started as an organization, and that is all public. It's all on the fec.gov webpage. We also file our 990 forms for our C3. We are about to file our first 990 for our C4. We do all these things, and Premier and Elias helps us to make sure that we're covering all the bases. And then we do a lot of the work internally. And then lastly, you need marketing, and we have a great marketing crew, really increasingly going by the name of Marketing and Communications at the organization, headed by Wole Akinla Soto, along with Willow Yapel and Kylie Knowles. Those three folks really building a great body of work, increasingly sophisticated, and we're firing up our podcast again, and they've got a blog going, and Kylie just oversaw the move to Slack for our kind of group communications. So all of this stuff is necessary for an organization to work. Now, you don't actually have to have all of them, but if you want to build a sophisticated one, you're going to have these pieces. And then lastly, our programs, and these don't really require me discussing them here. Should be all very familiar with to us. We have a Gen Z college program. We have an Institute for Common Power led by Dr. Terry Ann Scott, with a whole host of folks who work with her in that. Devin Geary, Victoria Elias, Jordan Schulte, Celestia Hill. I do a little work there. I mean, that really appeals to our millennials, to really our oldest generation, the silent generation. Then in our voter fieldwork, everybody gets brought together under the leadership of our fieldwork team, Charles Douglas and Bin Trong and Puya Suri, Jessica Louie, and they do all this incredible work in bringing us together interracially and intergenerationally. So in our development program, in our development area, we are merely bringing these outstanding pieces together and offering to people to support them. We are thrilled that at this point in our organization, we are all of these things. We are all of these things. So when people give us support, this is what you're giving us support for. Okay, real quick on a couple more things. Here's our core guiding principles. I'm not going to go into depth on each of them, but we have 5 guiding principles for our development work. Integrity, we're going to tell you the truth. We're going to be honest with you about the money that we have, who gives us the money, and how we use the money. That's why we love publishing public reports monthly for the PAC and for the PAC and for our super PAC, and yearly reports for our C3. We have inclusivity as a core guiding principle. We intentionally seek wide representation of people in our supporters and in our community. We don't have to do that. The world, as an organization, it would be a lot easier to not do this, but it would not be ethically who we are. Generosity. We believe that people can be generous in their support, and we as an organization can be generous in sharing resources. We not uncommonly write a check to support a collaborative organization that we're working with, somebody who needs support at a particular time. It could be a candidate, it could be a C4, it could be a particular individual who's under assault in education. We write checks to support them because we believe that if we're fortunate to raise some monies and it's on point with our mission, then we can be generous with them and trust that everybody here is committed to the same enterprise. We don't do a ton of that, but we understand that we should not hoard the money. We don't believe in hoarding. That is a principle that is written into this culture's DNA. It's definitely an element of white supremacy, and we are not interested in hoarding. We can be generous. Time, we always want to seek supporters who contribute both treasure and time. We love the fact that many of our donors also do work with us educationally and politically. And then impact. We have a commitment to everybody that we're going to use your money. If you give us money, we're going to use your money thoughtfully. We're going to be strategic in how we act and engage. These are our core guiding principles. Here's our budget over time. We're going to go from 2018 to 2024, and those are $1 million numbers on the left. Thrilled to have $1 million numbers on the left. In our first year, 2018, when we sought to raise money for the very first time, our goal was $70,000. So that's what that number is right there, 70,000. And the very first audience questionnaire that we had at a fundraiser in July of 2018 raises his hand, the very first question of any fundraiser we ever did. And he said, why are you here asking me for 70,000? Why are you not here asking me for 700,000? And we said, well, I don't know. We just kind of got here. We're just trying to raise some money to support this work. We're just trying to support a half-time person. And he said, I want to support an organization that's asking me for $700,000 because then I know you're going to make a real difference. I said, come back and talk to me then. Okay. Well, the next year, our budget was a little over $700,000. And then we moved it up over time. And so our budget this year in 2024 is a little over $5 million. And when you look at that window over time, there's really two periods of time in our growth as an organization. There's the constructing the vision period, where we were figuring a lot of things out about our values, about our governing, about our programs. And now we're in the period of what we might call kind of moving with purpose and impact. We've got those pieces in place, and we are now executing. We've got the team, we've got the vision, we've got the community. Thank you all so much. Okay, this is our total donors over time. In 2018, we had about 300 donors, and that was our first year of attempting to raise money, and we only did it for about half a year. And over time, our number of donors over time has risen, but it also follows the cyclical nature of politics. They go up the highest, the number of our donors, in the even years, which is the common in politics. You have more civic engagement in the even numbered years, because those are where the bigger elections are. So we've steadily increased. Thrilled to have that number in 2023. 2023 was a year of very difficult fundraising for progressive organizations. Some have suffered enormously. We were thrilled to be able to come through 2023 with the level of engagement and support that we had. For 2024, our goal is over here. We want to get above 2,000. We're off to a good start, but we're going to have to work to get there. We're going to have to work hard to get there. These are total donors. This should be total donations is what they should say. That's a mistake on my slide. It should be total donations. Total numbers of individual donations over time. Individual donors is a factor of about a third of each of these. So of each of these numbers. So we got about a third. These are total donations, and then about a third of them is the number of total donors per year. We want to get over 2,100 total donations this year. All right, going to finish here. Our development team over time has gone from the beginning of when we started to raise money in 2018 to today. And over time, the folks who've been the key to raising money for this organization have always been our staff leadership and the community. Many of you and many, many others who are not on this call have helped us to raise money. You've held parties in your homes. You've gone out of your way to badger family members and to get them to give us money. You've sought out foundations to give us money, and you've contributed. So our primary fundraisers over time have been the staff leadership and the community. I have also been here driving and pushing hard on all of this from the beginning as well. And then there have been a couple key people along the way. Maria Bando was with us at the beginning of this organization, and she and I worked very closely together and began to raise some serious money to start off the organization. Maria now works for the Women's Center at the University of Washington in a community engagement position. Great position. Kylie Knowles worked with us on some of our fundraising early in the period of time, wrote thank you notes, did a variety of kind of pieces that were really, really processing of records, really, really helpful. Kylie then moved on to other more things that she found a little more stimulating, like our community engagement, and it's her loss. Not doing development has been her loss, but she's been great with us on that. Julia G came in about halfway through our work over time, and Julia came out of Action Academy and we worked really closely. Julia and I built those development values together. She ran our Action Academy, our first kind of Action Academy fundraising campaign. Julia really upgraded some of our donor processing information. She now works as an assistant director of development at the University of Washington. So, you know, I guess the University of Washington is making us pay them back for some of us who've departed from the UW. They're taking our folks back. And today, our team looks like this. It's Celestia Hill and Jordan Schulte, who the three of us work together very, very closely and will increasingly be doing so because we're really starting to gel together. This is who we are. This is who we've been. It's been a great privilege of mine to work on development over time. I'm thrilled to be where we are. I'm honored and thrilled about who we are. Celestia and Jordan are going to wrap us up now, and then we're going to say a little bit about Action Academy and then head into field work. So Celestia is going to tell us a little bit about her story to come into CP. She's referenced it, but she's going to say a little bit more about what she does right now.
Thank you, David. I'm very thankful to be in this organization and working on this development team. I think we're shaping out to be really great, and I'm happy to be here. So this is going to be a little introduction of me. I'm so happy to see so many familiar faces here, either through like email exchange or letter exchange or seeing you on the field or learning tour. So I'm so happy to see so many of you all here. I'm Celestia Hill. This is just a little presentation of me, and I'll go ahead and start from the beginning of graduating from school. So I got introduced to CP through a different route, but a route that I loved and I endear so much. I went to Hood College out in Frederick, Maryland. There I was studying elementary and middle school special education, and I took a minor in African American Studies where I'd met Dr. Scott for the first time. Dr. Scott was kind of my introduction to CP before I knew what CP was. But from there, I was invited to an educator learning tour, which I loved. I got invited to an educator learning tour with several other educators from Frederick, Maryland, where they had a partnership with, and also with the Seattle Public Schools. So I met many educators like Luke Michener there, and then also our Frederick educator, who we still work with today, like Jamie Pompey is very prominent in what we do now. I loved that educator learning tour. I had been to Alabama before, but going into an experience like going to Alabama and going to Atlanta, Georgia with historians like Dr. Scott and Dr. David Dompey with us to walk in the steps of foot soldiers and to learn the history of being at the actual places just transformed how I view the work I do and the impact I really want to make in this world. It was transformative in every type of way. That was my first introduction to CP, and that kind of sealed the deal for me. I had actually asked Dr. Scott if there's anything else I could do just like on the side as I was teaching, if there's like any other help I could do. And I started helping out with some other programs I'll talk about in a little bit later. But from there, then I started helping with canvassing, and Elizabeth Mitchell, I can't see on my screen right now, but shout out to you because I met you on my first canvassing trip in Atlanta, Georgia with Raphael Warnock's runoff race. Love that time, love meeting you, love meeting so many other people who are on the camera today. Chuck as well, sorry, I had to do that shout out. But that was my first time canvassing. And then this picture I have here, which is with, I don't want to pronounce his name wrong, Eric Holder. Yeah, Dr. Eric Holder. He is the Attorney General for Barack Obama. I actually met him in Wisconsin in April of last year, second canvassing trip, and saw many familiar faces as well. So this got me into the introduction of CP and canvassing, and then I went to Virginia after that. And from that experience, I realized I wanted to do more with CP instead of just like contracting work or just helping out on some learning tours, that I want to do more. I want to take a bigger step of what my role could be. So I resigned from teaching, and with some time in between that and doing canvassing and things like that, I ended up becoming full-time with Common Power, but more so taking a leap of faith and moving to Alabama to work with Common Power and to do the work that I do now. And that has been a crazy leap of faith, but the best decision I have made in my life. And I'm glad I took that leap, honestly. So I'm going to guide into what I do now in Common Power and what I do here, because I currently live in Montgomery, Alabama. Soon to move to Selma, but the work I do primarily is in Selma. So actually I commute there every day right now. And I have a couple photos that kind of like represent what I do. So I'm gonna point to the picture on the top right. That's me kind of being, or that is me being the Selma advocate for Common Power. So I am the face of Selma. Who would like, if how I like to say it is, if you don't already know David or Charles, but if you know Common Power, you know me at this point. I come to people, or answer a lot of questions about Common Power, but not only that, I help with our partners there too. So Miss Jackie, she just opened up her new coffee shop, the Reflections Coffee Shop, right on Water Avenue that overlooks the bridge and is the most beautiful bridge. And I will tell you right now, I have not seen that coffee shop empty since she's opened it. It is thriving every single day, and she still has the other coffee shop open for those who have been to Alabama before. And I also work with Miss Bland, with her, just helping her out with whatever she needs, but with the Foot Soldiers Park and Journeys for the Soul and for her tours. Down in Alabama, we have the Selma Times Journal, which I now work in the back offices of, and that's where that's where I stay, but I also help with Miss Bland when she brings her tours to the auditorium. And she had her first tour the same day Miss Jackie had her grand opening, and I've seen tours in that building every day since then too, bringing groups of high school seniors talking about the power of vote to busfuls of like 50 people just talking about her story, and also Miss Linda Laurie's story as well. They both come in as a combination, and it's beautiful seeing them in that space and telling their story. And Miss Bland she almost came to tears when she had that auditorium, to have her space to finally, as she's getting the Foot Soldiers part going, but to have that space right now and to talk about her story. And I think it's more important that the fact that like Common Power is helping support Miss Jackie and Miss Bland with that space, and I'm also helping supporting them as well. So I work very closely with them. Those are our partners, and I'm like a consultant. I help them with whatever they need. I also run a program I help run the program called Scholars in Motion under Dr. Scott. We have 2 chapters right now, one in Frederick, Maryland, where I was just living before I moved to Alabama. And we officially have 5 students in our program now here in Selma. And the picture I have with the bridge is actually 2 of our students that came to the grand opening for Miss Bland, and I gave them a tour of the building as well. It was super windy, that's why like hair's all over our faces, but the program's proven to be so great. The students in it are amazing, and I love working with youth. I'm a teacher at heart, so to be running this program is really just, it's feeding that I don't know, that seed I know, like growing that seed of that teacher in me and helping these students. It's just, I love to be impactful, and I'm able to be more impactful outside of the classroom than in the classroom. That's what I think my calling more is. So to make sure I'm guiding students and mentoring them. There's a quote I have that's, be who you needed when you were younger. So being in this program or helping students in Scholars in Motion is actually that mentor that I needed when I was younger, that I'm able to be for them. So I love this program, and I love helping out with Scholars in Motion. Some other things I do, I help with learning tours. If you haven't seen me on one, you'll probably see me on soon. And then of course, I'm on this development team. So it's a wonderful team, the Institute team, development team. I think and working in Selma, I'm finding my place in what I'm called to do, what I feel like is my purpose. And I'm just happy to be doing all of this. And I just want to do a quick shout out. The dog in the corner, her name is actually Selma. I found her in Selma, near an area that Miss Bland usually does her tours. And I will say that the city of Selma, although I moved to Montgomery at first because I wasn't too sure if I wanted to move to Selma, the city of Selma is that community that I've been searching for. So to have a dog named after them, or named after the city, and just to be so embraced by that city of Selma, and to know what the city of Selma has given to us as a nation, I'm so happy to have a little piece of my puzzle to be there. So very thankful to be doing this work and to be with this team. And I'll pass it over to you, Jordan, and thank you all for listening.
Oh, thanks. That's so good. I love seeing Selma in the picture, and just hearing your story is just great, even though we've talked all the time for work, but I just love hearing it. Okay, sorry earlier about the mishap with the slides. That was on accident. I didn't even throw you off either, throw anyone off with the slides. My apologies. Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Schulte again, and I'll do something similar to Celestia, just run through a sort of visual timeline of how I ended up here and, ended up on the development team, and just really grateful to be here and really excited to share this. So starting from the left, it just goes left to right. I have some emblems from the University of Arizona, my alma mater. Bear down if you've been to Arizona, been to Tucson. Sad that we're out of the tournament, March Madness. That hurt my feelings, but we'll move past it. I attended the University of Arizona for my undergraduate and graduate degrees, specifically in the College of Medicine, where I got my BS in physiology, and then received my master's from the Eller College of Management. I also have a picture below of my team. I was on the women's soccer team at the University of Arizona as well. Just had a great experience at the U of A. Spent the first half of my academic career more technical, preparing for medical school, which had been my vision for the longest, and then actually spent the second half of my academic career focused on understanding and researching healthcare disparities, public health, how disparities and inequities are affecting people of color and marginalized communities, and even more so women of color. And so, especially with 2020 and the pandemic, at that time, I was working in a hospital, I was doing COVID tests, I was really ingrained in seeing how COVID and the pandemic was affecting marginalized communities and the systemic ways in which, marginalized communities were feeling the effects of COVID. And I just started then to do even more research to want to understand the systemic issues that we were facing in healthcare. At the same time, my cousin introduced me to Common Power as an entire organization, just where I was able to continue to establish the link and the connection between the history of this country and the outcomes and the things that we're feeling, not only in healthcare, the space that I had studied for so long, but also in every sector of our life. And that goes back to, of course, the power of our vote and those leaders that are in political power in our country. And it was just a perfect link to what I felt so motivated and so active to do. It's 2020, it's pandemic, Black Lives Matter movement, all these things are convening and converging for me in my life. And to find common power and just to understand what they were doing and the work that was being done to move us forward was really empowering. And so kind of in this middle section, I have a quote from John Lewis here that I actually took on one of my first learning tours in Montgomery, Alabama, at the Greyhound Station Memorial that we go to for the Freedom Riders. And it's just something like I remember just initially first reading it and knowing and feeling like, in addition to the many other things we're learning, the teachings that we're receiving from David, from Dr. Scott, feeling and knowing that it's my responsibility to do what I can with whatever I have, with my position, with my education, whatever I can do to contribute to the betterment of our society and to create a more equitable space for myself, for my family there below. That's my mom and my brother and I. Such powerful and motivating people in my life. And of course, the future family that I want to have as well, how I want our country to be and what I want it to look like, and understanding that it all, it comes down to our vote and the things that and people that we put into power. And so that's why I kind of moved on to this far right photo of me in the field in my home state of Arizona. It was very hot that day, but we were knocking on doors regardless because we have to, we have to. It's what, it's our responsibility to do so. And so just this link between my education and finding a way to connect, all the activism and all the motivation I've been feeling with actual, political results and actual feelings and movements towards a more just and inclusive democracy, as we always say. It really truly did go from education to action for me, and just which is why I just love that quote so much and our motto so much of that, because it's such a powerful way of moving people to action and to see the results that we wanted to see and to see this equitable space that we are creating and we will continue to create. And part of that is what we're going to continue to discuss next with Action Academy April, but it's just a space that we feel and we embody and feel so strongly about. And I'm excited to share about Action Academy April as well, because I also went through Action Academy, and I know we have some Action Academy CP Future team in the crowd, and Larcy, I saw her in there as well. So I'm looking forward to chatting about that as well. But this is just a snapshot of my journey, and I see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd as well that I may have shared this with, but I'm glad I got to go over it again briefly. And I think, David, you're going to hop into, we could talk about Action Academy. I have a couple just slides of photos that people you all may have received already in our launch newsletter, but if you haven't, you can see some of our visuals for Action Academy April that we have.
Right. So what is Action Academy April, Jordan?
Yeah. Well, we're 4 days in, and it's our month-long time period that we've set aside to support Action Academy. This fun campaign that we have is going to be comprised of a few events, actually, where our CP community can come and they can learn and communicate and share with our CP Future team, but also to come and hear from guest speakers who actually appear in Action Academy, get a taste of, and hint and play on our name of the events, Taste of Action Academy, a taste of what the students will be learning in Action Academy. And it's just a way for us to continue to support next gen leaders, as we know, to create sustainability and to create consistent and efficient change that we have to bring up the next gen leaders, which I am one of, as I went through Action Academy as well. The only way to continue us moving forward is to support them, and we will be doing that this entire month with a set of events.
And so this particular year, where are we at? Applications are done now, or they're mostly done?
Yeah, mostly done. We're at nearly 200, but I know, and I've heard it might be, the application is closed currently, but it might be opening up maybe 1 or 2 more times so that we will be at 200 or over 200 very soon of applicants this far. Yeah.
And what's the central goal of Action Academy? What are we trying to do? Development hat on now.
Yeah.
Putting on the development,
Okay.
it's like the Pope hat. Okay, that's what that is. The development hat as we wrap up our portion of this community meeting. What's our goal?
Yeah, of course. So our goal, as I just said, nearly 200, we will be at 200 applicants, students, to participate in this 10-week summer program. Our goal is to raise $300,000 for these students to support them. We provide each student with a $1,000 stipend for their completion of the program, because we understand that summer internships, summer programs like this, their time is valuable and it should be accessible regardless of socioeconomic status. Students should have the access and the ability to learn and to engage civically. And so we do provide them with a $1,000 stipend. We honor our speakers and those who come in because we understand and value their time. And so our goal is to raise $300,000 for Action Academy this April. And we do ask that you support us in any way that you can for these next gen students, which included me and myself and Celestia and all these other amazing individuals that are part of our Common Power team. And we understand that support looks different for everyone. That whether that means monetarily, and we have our donation link and we have information about Action Academy, we have all of that and are willing to have conversations and everything. But for some people that means attending our events. For some people that means sharing Action Academy, sharing Common Power with your circle, with your friends, with your family. Whatever that may mean to you, we value and appreciate and are grateful for any and all of that, and understand that it looks different for everyone, and know that we're just so grateful for you to be in this meeting at all alone. So we just appreciate of that for sure.
We want to put a blurb in the chat, right?
Yes,
A blurb
I
in the
have a blurb.
chat that we're asking everybody here if you might share this blurb. Well, what are we asking them, Jordan?
We're asking them to share the blurb if they can with 5 people. That would be great, right? Isn't it 5?
Absolutely. But you see, when you start to raise money, you always go like, well, it could be 5, it could be 10. Okay. So at least 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At least 5. I'm just getting the blurb right now. Sorry, I'm looking at my
Sure. So what we're doing, so as Jordan puts it in, as we wrap up our piece here, this is our month. Action Academy April is our month of raising money for Action Academy. And Action Academy leadership, Larcy Blossom Pianwe, Kyra Fisher Kemp, and Ellie, Ellie blanking on the last name right now. But Ellie Hernandez, you all have done the job of recruiting people. You've done the job. Larcy, I saw you come on, you're ready to go, like I'm ready to go. Okay, right? You've done the job. You've brought in the people. And so now it's development's job to raise the money to support you, right? Go ahead, Larcy.
Well, thank you all so much, development team. And again, it is a team effort to get a program like Action Academy to where it is today. And again, Jordan, where you're speaking from an alum yourself, is so compelling to hear of the importance of why next gen leaders need to have that support. So, and we are not, 2024, guys, we want to go big and we are not going home. So we are really on track to probably hitting 200 students. I said that number into the universe months ago, and we just made it happen. We have a very, very strong team. We are building capacity in the Action Academy space so that the infrastructure is strong enough to hold those 200 participants that are going to come into the academy this particular year. We're seeing so much other support that's needed to help our rising leaders to do a lot of the skill sets that's needed to run a civics summer school. Like, this is what we're becoming, is a civics and democracy summer school for students aged to 18 to 24 to just be in a place where democracy is normalized, political discourse is normalized. So I love that the team are all comprised of alums themselves, and the way that they nurture and care for their system is because they were once in their shoes. And so it's a really good formula. It's a really good, strong formula now. And so it is, you're absolutely right, David, that it is now development team to make sure that we succeed 2024. We are breaking all numbers. We are breaking records, 200 students, 30 states from across our country, and 80 plus universities and schools where these students represent. And we have record-breaking 24 crew leads that are going to come into this space to lead this large of a cohort in 2024. So community, we got to do it. We got the future voters in our democracy right now who have such a weighted stake in this democracy, and a pool of voters that could pull so much weight in tipping some of these elections. And we are part of that tipping point or iceberg or whatever it is, but we are at the front lines of this. And we have some great, amazing young leaders who are willing to be with us to progress into the direction that we want to go to. So please, if you can support, wonderful. If you are a supporter, please stretch, because we're stretching. I'm stretching. This is a big cohort. And also, please share this information as much to anyone out there who wants to support education, who wants to support next generation leaders, and who just wants to overall support civic engagement. If all of those buckets are definitely checked off, send them our way. We're going to need it this year. Thanks, David.
Yeah, thank you. So 2 last things, Jordan and I want you to all know, it's all C3 tax deductible money. It's all C3 because this is for our educational arm. And you're going to be hearing lots from Jordan and me about this all month long, because that's our job. That's our job. And then the second thing I want to say is, you know, in the 1970s, there was a famous movie, Jaws. This was a long time ago, Jordan and Celestia. I understand, okay? But there was this movie, Jaws. It was about the shark, okay? And there's a famous scene in there when Roy Scheider, who's the guy who's trying to capture the shark, realizes that the shark is way bigger than he ever imagined. And he has a famous line in there in which he says, we're going to need a bigger boat. All right. And that's what we're doing at Common Power. Larcy and her team has built a bigger team than we expected. So we're going to need a bigger boat. The fundraisers come in now to do all we can. So we're asking for your support. You're going to hear from us all month long, because that's our job. In fact, we've gone a little bit long here because we're pretty fired up about it all. So thank you all so much, Jordan and Celestia. High five. Love working with you too. All right. And going to hand it off to the fieldwork team now, because ultimately at the end of the day, everything feeds to our fieldwork. Everything goes to our fieldwork. So I don't know who's got it, but fieldwork, it's all yours.
I got it. And I love that you think that we don't know what Jaws is. We know what Jaws is. It's probably it's a universal movie. I've never seen it, but I know it. Okay, that was great. And
Jessica, you go, we know what this is. I haven't seen it, but we know.
I know what it is. I could have quoted that too. Anyways, I want to say, first of all, thank you, David and Jordan and Celestia. That was a really great presentation. It's always really cool to see developments work, because everything that you do allows us to function over in fieldwork. Action Academy, everyone that you see from fieldwork came through Action Academy. So it's really awesome to see how that whole process is, because the only reason that we're able to bring
all these awesome young people with us on these trips is because of development. So that's really great to see. I have a few updates and I don't want to take too much time because it is 6:06. So I'll just go through them pretty quickly from fieldwork. One of them is squads. We just launched last week. I'm sure you guys have been seeing all of our promotion material everywhere, but I'm really excited about heading this program. It's a new fieldwork program that we just launched, and it's a program that really invites you to bring your friends and family into the work, which is why I'm glad a lot of the key elements from this presentation was about, the work that we really do is what it's about. It's about bringing people together. And that's the reason why we're really impactful, is because we know that community and people power is what really makes a difference, and it makes this work sustainable. So if you're interested in getting to work and activating the people within your own community, your own friends, your own family, your neighbors, the people down the block, I really invite you to come into our info sessions. They're going to be on Wednesdays. We just had our first one yesterday. There are a few people on this call who attended, so thank you guys so much. But yeah, if you're also interested, we'll have them the next Wednesday and the Wednesday after that. I will drop the link in the chat. 2 seconds for me to do that. Here you go. This is the info session link. And some other updates from fieldwork is that we've been doing a lot of great work on the ground. There are a couple team leads here. I saw Chuck and I saw Elizabeth here. They already got their shout outs, but here's a second shout out because they are team leads. And I just want to report that so far we've hit almost 10,000 doors within the first 3-4 trips we've had on the ground, which is amazing. And Chuck, who is also here, he's going to be leading Pennsylvania in 2 weeks. I'll be there. I think a couple other people on this call will be there. And we have a really big, great group that we're going with to Philly. We're bringing about 40 volunteers with us. So that's awesome. But, if you can't make it to Philadelphia, we do have a lot of other trips. And so we have just opened our Team Nevada to go and join if you're interested in traveling in June. I know there'll be a couple of trips to Arizona that we're going to. We'll have a small CSO to help train our young leaders in Michigan next week. And so we have a lot of trips lining up. And the way that you can find out all of this is if you go on our website and you go to our Volunteer Now page, which I'm going to drop in the chat right now. This is a great resource if you're interested in what we're doing here in fieldwork. It lists literally every single event, every travel trip, all this time, so you can find them all there on the website. And yeah, we would love to have you come knock on doors with us or make some phone calls with us. We have it all, and we're doing it every day, day by day. So we would love to have more people join us. And the last event I'm going to plug, so I don't want to take too much time, is our next event this Saturday, actually. If you're in the Seattle area, and I know there's a lot of people here on this call who are, we would love for you guys to attend our Coffee and Mojo event, which is our very first kind of reunion of our trips. We knew a lot of people are intensely bonded on our travel trips, and we want a chance to get people into the space again, meet each other, and invite new people who are interested in travel to come and meet us and the team leads. And so if you're out here in Seattle, we are having an event at Boon Boona in Capitol Hill, and it'd be great to see you guys. I'll be there and the fieldwork team will be there, and we would love for you guys to join. And I think that's it. I wanted to wrap it up pretty quick. So all right. And I'll pass it back to David. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Jessica. And we're gonna call Kylie on the spot here to close this up. Okay. Because Kylie Knowles has been in this organization for a couple of years. And Kylie, your embrace of the community role that you've taken on has really, really made a difference for us. I'm so grateful. So you get to host all of these community meetings at some level. You get to see them all. Others of us just kind of pass through. So what are your closing kind of reflections upon seeing this one and just thinking about where we are as an org?
Yeah, thank you, David. And I just want to first say thank you so much to the fundraising and development team, David, Jordan, Celestria, for hosting this one. And Jessica, thank you for providing the fieldwork updates. I think for me, just some closing thoughts is just how wonderful it is to have a story to tell about this organization. There are so many things that I learned, even having been in the organization for a while. I hadn't seen those core guiding principles. And I think that they're all wonderful. And I think this meeting in particular is very in line with that integrity principle of, telling people about the work we do, the money that we're raising, and what it's going towards. So I'm just grateful for everyone. I know we've gone over a little bit too, so thank you for hanging out with us and spending a little more time on your Thursday with us. I'm really excited about these community meetings and the way we've done them this year. So each department really gets more of a chance to shine because we're all, in this together as a team, as a community. And so I'm just really grateful for that. And I did want to close out and let folks know that our next community meeting in May will be an all department update. So we'll kind of be back to that regularly scheduled, but just thank you again to the fundraising development team and last month CP Future and the month before that, the Institute team. I've just loved getting to know y'all and your work more, even though, we are on staff together. We don't always get a chance to really deep dive like this. So this was just absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for the work you put in to host tonight. And with that,
Thanks,
I think
everybody.
we're all gonna say goodnight.
Yep.
I'll hang on if folks have any questions or any thoughts, but otherwise enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Great job, guys. I actually really enjoyed the presentation. I wasn't even being like, whoo, I really liked it. I learned a lot. I feel like.
Thanks.
That was great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jessica, I definitely back you up. I've heard of Jaws. I know about the plot, but
I know the
have
plot.
not seen the movie. I don't think I will, but I already know what it's about, so I won't
Yeah.
watch it.
Like I won't be surprised by anything that happens in the movie. So it's like, why would I watch it?
Exactly. I know the theme song. I basically know what's
I've
going
already
on.
been spoiled. Like it's fine. Okay, well then good night, guys. Have a good rest of your night.
Right. Good
Yeah,
night.
good night.
Good
Take
night.
care,
See ya,
y'all.
everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya.